country club that we belonged to was an all-white country club with workers being African American, and the mood was normal to us, and they didn't seem to mind either. You know, they were all pretty friendly and, you know, funny, and so I mean, it wasn't anything that was unaccepted. It was just the way it was. You know, by moving here and playing college football and being on a team where it was predominantly black, it makes you more aware of what their situation and their surroundings are, and which probably makes you more accepting without you really realizing it. But you become more aware. My grandfather sat on a case that was involved the Ku Klux Klan member. I don't know what they had done to anybody, but he ended up ruling against them where it had never been done before in the state of Oklahoma, and ended up putting this guy in jail who was an admitted KKK member, which, you know, there's always stories of that in the South. You know, and my grandfather went ahead and, you know, saw the truth in the case and said, you know, what's right here? What's right here is he's guilty. And for that, he knew there would be ramifications. He knew that he was gonna, you know, there would be backlash. And later that day, his car was in the mechanic shop, and he went to pick it up, and they were there waiting for him when he got there. Actually took out two guys with a magnifying glass that he used to carry, but he got his head shut in the garage door. Didn't kill him, but it changed him for the rest of his life. You know, there were some issues with him after that, you know, in terms of head injury. But he knew what was coming. When he got the phone call to come pick his car up, he called my grandmother and said, "Listen, you need to sit by the phone and wait." You know, the next thing she knew, there were police at her front door, explaining to her what happened. You know, she had said that there were several judges that were, you know, that had given her, you know, a hard time after it, and thinking that, you know, that they now were going to they were now going to be scrutinized over their decisions when they didn't favor, when they didn't rule in the favor of the minority. And her response and my grandfather's response to that was, if you just rule the truth, you don't have a problem. You know, if it's the popular thing, okay. If it's the unpopular thing, same deal. If you just rule what's correct, then it's fine. So there was a lot of tension that came after it, in the fact that, you know, he had kind of jumped out in front of something that, you know, the people that he worked with within the court system weren't ready to really deal with it, and he knew it was coming. But he stood by his ruling, and it changed the way things went from there on.
They've got no pride, they interrupt our grieving.
There were some issues on our team that, you know, people come from everywhere, and we had some guys that were from the South. There were some white guys that didn't mind speaking their views. They came to, you know, other people of different race on our team, and there were times that they clashed. But I will say this: as the years went on, both parties started to respect each other. Not for who they were, you know, in terms of I'm a black guy and I'm a white guy, but in terms of, you know, on the field, and they learned to accept each other, and actually really become pretty good friends, you know, through it. So, you know, I saw people walk in one way and walk out another way.
I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when and I'll take it to my car.
You know, there's so many people with different circumstances and different issues, and come in with different baggage, so to speak, from their lives. I mean, I was a white kid coming from a pretty affluent area in Oklahoma area. We had kids coming from South Central LA who really had nothing, never really knew their fathers. And I think everyone kind of took the best of each other and kind of made it their own. I mean, I wouldn't trade the experience for anything. I mean, a lot of who I am today has to do with what I was able to pick up from guys that didn't have something that I had, and I'm sure I had an impact on them. You know, there's one I still see pretty frequently. He's from South Central. Who never really knew his dad, and he's a wonderful father today. And I'd like to say I had some impact on that.
So what makes this place so nervous? I'm all things to all men.
I mean, there's some ideology to a country club that has all white members and all black employees. I mean, that's probably something that if you're gonna look at something and go, something's not right here. You're creating an order, a class order, which in today's day and age there shouldn't be one. We're just all here together. If you got the money to be at the country club, you got the money to be at the country club. If you got a job there, you got a job there. There's no difference in you outside of that.
Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest? I'm all things to all men. All of the women, all the children.
I mean, there's so much that's accepted in today's society that people can say or do or act that wouldn't be accepted when I was growing up. You know, you've got you've got white kids that act like they come from the ghetto. You know, what do they know about that? You know, when I say the ghetto, I mean, you know, predominantly black streets. They don't really know anything about it, but they think it's, you know, it's perpetrated in, you know, in music and in society as something that's cool or something that, you know, is desired. So they want to do that. You know, what is that to? How is that accepted? How is that acceptable?
10,000 spies, compulsive lies. They hate me, they love me, they hate me. 'Cause I'm all things to all men, all of the women, all the children. Just say when, and I'll take you to my TARDIS. Who's the hardest? Who's the hardest?
I don't believe there's anything that separates anything from anyone other than, you know, their actions. Actions are what speak, and I believe that, you know, everyone's got an open right to live life the way they want to live. You know, and should be accepted as to who they are, as long as you aren't harming anyone or negatively affecting society. You should be accepted, whether I agree with you or not.